Joining us right now is the man who has successfully predicted the outcome of every presidential election since 1984, American University professor and author of Predicting the Next President. Allan Lichtman is with us. Allan, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Maria.
So the last time we spoke with you, you came on the show a couple of weeks ago. You predicted that Donald Trump would win the presidency. Despite all the controversy that we have been hearing about lately, have you changed your mind?
Well, I'm not a hedger, and I've been correctly predicting elections for 30 years. But I have a big qualification this time. My keys to the White House system says this should be a change election. The incumbent Democrats who hold the White House should lose. However, we have a contrary historical force in Donald Trump, who is a history-smashing, precedent-breaking candidate. You know, the great majority of the American people believe he's not fit to serve as president. We've never seen anything like that before. And, you know, when I was on your show, I talked about how he needed to move more to the mainstream because a generic Republican could win this race. Instead, of course he didn't listen. He's done just the opposite and inflamed all of those issues that cause people to doubt him so much and make him the kind of candidate we haven't seen in modern American political history. He has one more shot to listen to me, and that's tonight.
So you think there's a chance that the candidate's performance tonight will alter your decision then? Will it change your decision, what we see tonight?
I'd be surprised, because I think what you see is what you get with Donald Trump. You know, this harping on things like the election being rigged against him, which is arrant nonsense. Republicans control, you know, 2/3 of the battleground states in the election administration. And if he keeps on that tack, instead of moving towards the mainstream, then my huge qualification that the historical force of Trump might overcome the historical force which says this should be a change election. Maria, that's why this election is the most fascinating election we've really had in the modern history of the United States.
Professor, it's Wednesday morning, November the 9th. What are the polls looking like, the general election national percentage totals?
You know, I'm not much of a poll watcher, but I do believe the late polls are pretty accurate. I do believe Clinton has right now a lead of about 6 or 7 percentage points, which is going to be very difficult for Trump to overcome, and he cannot overcome it following the course he's following now. That course will fire up his base, but it won't expand the base. He's got to convince the American people he's not unfit by temperament to serve as president of the United States, and he's done nothing to calm those fears, unfortunately for him.
Allan, it's Dagan McDowell, but Hillary Clinton also, just in terms of the amount of money that this campaign is spending so close to the election, they are worried about voter enthusiasm among African Americans, Black Americans, and also young people in this country, because they do not have the level of enthusiasm they did in 2012 and surely not what they had in 2008.
You're absolutely right about that. Look, one of my keys is whether or not the incumbent party candidate, Hillary Clinton, is a charismatic or inspirational candidate. She loses that key, and that's a major factor. You know, she's not been really able to inspire the Democratic base. The Democratic base fears Trump, but she hasn't been a truly inspirational candidate, and she has to worry about turnout, which is why she's built such an enormous get-out-the-vote apparatus. You know, she has many, many more offices. She has many more troops on the ground than Donald Trump, who tends to be more of a media candidate rather than, ironically, a grassroots candidate, even though he talks about representing the ordinary Jane and John Doe America.
So tell us, Allan, what's behind your feeling that Trump may still win, even though these polls show us that Hillary is ahead by 7 points. What's behind your analysis?
Yes, my analysis is based on an historical system that was developed by looking at every election from 1860 to 1980. I developed it in 81, and the primary thesis is that elections are mostly judgments on the performance of the party holding the White House. And my 13 keys gauge the strength and performance of that party. And if the White House party loses 6 or more, they are predicted losers. And right now, the White House party, the Democrats, have exactly 6 keys out against them. So based on historical patterns, this should be a change election. A generic Republican, a Marco Rubio, a John Kasich should be winning this election. But unfortunately for the Republicans, they've glommed on to the one candidate capable of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory because he is so far out of the mainstream.
Yeah, well, he beat 16 candidates, I mean, on stage during the primary season. So real quick, does it help Hillary Clinton when President Obama goes out and campaigns for her, or hurt her?
Oh, I don't think it helps or hurts particularly. I don't think that's what this campaign is turning on, because normally it shouldn't help. I think this campaign is all about Donald Trump, really. And you can see Hillary Clinton almost fading into the background as a deliberate strategy, because she believes the more things focus on Trump, his charges of a rigged election, 10 or a dozen women accusing him of unwanted sexual groping or kissing, as long as he's in the headlines, she thinks she wins.
All right, we will leave it there. Allan, great to talk with you. Thanks so much. We'll be speaking soon.
Always great, Maria.
Allan Lichtman there, Fox